This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to CWK Live every Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Zare, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. I want to thank Alex Percasio for helping to make that intro to Facebook Live so spectacular. He is a master at video, and I think it shows there. I don't think I thank him enough, so thank you for that, Alex. Really appreciate it. Let's bring in our friends to the community and CWK Live. First, as always, is Minta. This is the way. It's CWK Day. Hello, Minta, and thank you for drawing attention to the local Comic-Con in your area on Twitter for me today. That was pretty fun. Interesting to see what happens with that. Jason, what is up? Hello, my friend. Good to see you. Mary, happy Monday to you. Good to see you. Happy Monday to me. I'm not going to click that. Liberty, hey. Good to have you on the show again, Liberty. And Jason says, love that intro. Thank you so much, Jason. Appreciate that. And Josh, good evening to you. Josh, I'm sure you're getting really excited for San Diego Comic-Con. Josh has a huge presence, and he always does some great panels at Comic-Con in San Diego naturally. So if you are there, be sure to go and see Josh and his amazing team. They do a great job. So kudos to you. All right, tonight's show. Oops. You already know about that. We're going to have top 5 moments from Star Wars Rebels Call to Action. Star Wars news. There's really not a ton of Star Wars news, but we'll see what we can come up with. And Josh, you know what? My pleasure, buddy, but I just speak the truth. And then, of course, your comments and questions. I want to thank everybody. There was a little bit of confusion on Facebook on the CWK Cafe, our Facebook group, earlier tonight, because I had said the wrong episode. But you were all astute and clever, and you figured out that we're watching the episode after Idiot's Array, which is Call to Action. A great episode. So let's go ahead and jump into that before we take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. This week, what is brewing in Star Wars? I'll tell you what. There's not a ton of stuff. We got a great excerpt from The Princess and the Scoundrel, the new novel that's going to talk about Han and Leia's courtship and honeymoon and their adventures on the Halcyon, among other things. So that's on StarWars.com. That's really, really cool. I've gotten a lot of questions, especially recently, about the Halcyon and our trip. Are we still doing the trip next summer? Yes, we are. I looked at the website earlier this week, or actually it was last night, Sunday, about when dates are showing up for the summertime. And all they have right now is still through the month of December 31st. And we're trying to save money to do this next summer. So from my household, from my party that I'm bringing with me, it's going to be me, Mason, of course, and then Corey Clubb and Tom Gross, my hosts for CWK Pour-Over. The three of us always have a great time on CWK Pour-Over. That is, of course, the podcast for members of the CWK Alliance. This week, we had a CWK Alliance Spotlight Show where Colby Mead was with us, and he talked about the top 5, his topic idea, because when you get picked for this, you get to pick the topic for the CWK Alliance show. So he hosted with me, Tom, and Corey, and we did top 5 movie soundtracks, part 1. It was a blast. I can't wait to share with you next week's part 2. Now, if you have the video portion of this, which you can get if you're a certain member of the CWK Alliance, you've already seen the entire thing, which is pretty cool. The CWK Alliance, again, is the place to go to support me and Coffee with Kenobi, exclusive behind-the-scenes information, podcasts, videos, and so much more for as little as $1 a month. So it's a great thing. I'm very biased, of course. It benefits me. But for $5 a month, you get 4 new podcasts a month. Plus, we have over 200 in the bank, so you get access to over 200 podcasts right away, which is pretty great, covering all ranges of pop culture. And 10% of your monthly contributions go directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital, and that's the thing that I'm the most excited about. So that's the main stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into our top 5 for this week. It is top 5 moments from Star Wars Rebels Call to Action. This is a very short season, as we've talked about. I think it's only 15 episodes, But there's no wasted exposition in any way. It's just terrifically well done. And this one is no exception at all. So yeah, tonight we're going to talk about your top 5 most from Star Wars Rebels Call to Action. Oh boy, I screwed up here too. Boy, just ignore me. I'm just the host. What do I know? I mean, seriously. It's Call to Action. That's the one we're doing. Thank you for your patience with me. All right. Number 5 for me is the return of Zare Leonis. You know, I talk about it all the time. I love the fact that his name, even though it's spelled differently, is pronounced the same way as my last name, but he's a cool character. Jason Fry helped to really bring him to life with his wonderful novels about these young adult, or I guess they're young adult novels, about this great character and him trying to find his sister, and he infiltrates the Empire as an Imperial cadet to try to find her. But he and Ezra become friends. That's actually written about in one of the first novels, I believe. But seeing him return and help out Ezra was really fun. So that is my number 5. Hopefully it doesn't sound so self-centered, but I really do, regardless of his name, I love the character. Of course, I love the name, but I really like the character Zare Leonis. So it's great to see him back. Wish we saw him more in Star Wars Rebels. What is your number 5, everybody? Please feel free to jump in there. That's the great thing about CWK Live, because when you're watching the video live with me on Facebook, or you see the replay later on Instagram or YouTube, or you hear the audio feed, you know that what you share is going to be shared by me on the show. So everybody's going to hear what you have to say, which I think is really cool. Jason weighs in with his number 5. Brent Spinner as Gal Travis. And Henrik's number 5, hello Henrik, is Ezra's vision. Yes, Henrik's vision. Ezra's vision is really important. We're going to talk about that. Minta is number 5, Ezra's training. You could still see that he's still struggling with connecting to the Force. That seemed to change once he saw his first vision. It really, and Henrik liked that, of course, as well. It really helps to focus him, doesn't it? And really get him dialed in. And it kind of takes his breath away. I think it's not unlike Luke having his visions on Dagobah and how that really rocks his world too. And it kind of inspires different degrees of focus. I think that's fair to say. While people are still typing in their number 5, let's see. Well, Liberty's got her 5 here. Ezra using a Lothcat to attack the probe droid. Good stuff. There you go. I want to show you this real quick. Mary's number 5. Ezra getting more focused into the Force, which is very cool. Speaking of the Force, I posted this in the cafe. A lot of you have this too. But I got in the mail yesterday my George Lucas 6-inch Black Series Stormtrooper Disguise figure. I'll try to get you a close-up of him. But of course, the likeness is great. He's a little bit grayer in the figure. The figure is a little bit grayer than I expected, but it's fun. And of course, I haven't opened it yet because I don't know, man. I really like how it looks like this. It's kind of fun though if I open it. It's just a Stormtrooper, and you can take off the helmet and say, "Oh, it's George Lucas." So I don't know. Either way, it's great. Okay, that's number 5. Let's go to number 4 for me from Call to Action. Number 4 for me is these droids. Gal Travis's droids are very cool, and what I really like about Lucasfilm and Star Wars, what they did, especially with this series, is nothing was wasted. These are old designs inspired by Ralph McQuarrie. They use these droids, these security droids, and the designs from Ralph McQuarrie for this, and I just like them. They're very sleek. You don't see them very much, but I love, again, that they take these older ideas that weren't necessarily used right away, and they save them for later. Dave Filoni's great about doing that as well, so I think that's wonderful. Number 4 for Minta. Brent Spinner voicing Gal Travis. We're getting that much closer for a Star Trek Star Wars crossover. Yeah, wouldn't that be interesting? I can't imagine that will ever happen, but I appreciate what you're saying. And he's such a good actor that you can't even tell that it's Brent Spinner, I don't think. And I'm not as familiar with Star Trek as other people, although I do like it for sure. Jason's number 4 is Zeb's smile as he fires at Ezra during lightsaber training. I enjoyed that as well. And Henrik's number 4 is Chopper's flex. Henrik Mason liked that too. In fact, we got a good giggle out of that this morning. It's quite entertaining. Anything Chopper does is typically very entertaining, and definitely not very nice to that poor other droid. So yeah, I liked those droids. And if you go on StarWars.com under the series tab, it's right in the middle. You scroll to the very bottom, and that's where you can find individual things for Star Wars Rebels. That's where I get all these pictures. And under the trivia section, they talk about those droids being used too, which is cool. Mary says that Brent Spinner does a fantastic job. He's very good. I think when you're a good actor, you can just do anything, right? Your ability to communicate and perform and espouse the values and beliefs and traits of a character, whether it's in live action or animation, come to life. And that's certainly a very incredible, impressive gift that I do not possess, but I think it's great that someone like Brent Spinner was in the world of Star Wars and was able to do that, which is so good. All right, so that is number 4. Waiting for other people. We have a lot less lists tonight than we usually do, which is kind of interesting. So maybe people are still kind of marinating on that. And we always leave a place in the CWK Cafe for people to add. Liberty says Tarkin. I think, Liberty, that you are talking about next week's show. So you are just so into this and so far ahead of the game that you are in the future, which I really like. But I like yours, and I know exactly what you're talking about, Liberty, and we will save that one. And if I messed that up, Liberty, I know that I did. I'm so sorry. I said the wrong one last week, but I just looked up online. I'm like, oh, what comes up after Idiot's Array? It's called to action. So that is my mistake. I apologize for that. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is there's a sequence in about the middle where the crew realizes they're being ambushed. And I like the teamwork here. While they are ambushed and clearly outnumbered, even with Ezra's vision, although they didn't really know that was going to happen, I just really like how they focus together. They're completely calm. They instantly fall into their skill sets, and they work together as a team without any panic and without a ton of communication. They just kind of go into action, and I just really like that. Plus, this is a great image of Sabine with her Mandalorian helmet on, with the smoke around her that she caused with her equipment, and just sort of taking care of business. I just really think it was a good scene. So I just, not incredibly profound or anything, but I just like the ambush defense. I thought it was so good. And again, a great use of them as a team and how they work together. Mean's number 3, Zen, training with Ezra seemed to be taking too much delight, or Zeb, I'm assuming. Yeah, Zeb training with Ezra seemed to be taking too much delight shooting at him. That was funny. I noticed on StarWars.com, by the way, that was interesting. They make a reference to the fact that the blaster bolts are a little bit different in color. They're almost orange, or really like a light yellow, but almost orange. And that's the same color as the blaster bolts that shoot at Luke on A New Hope when he's in the Falcon training with his lightsaber against that remote. So that is like sort of the unofficially official. This is the color of the blaster bolts that we use when we're not going to hurt someone or stun them, but just to get their attention, kind of like a sting or a zap, but it's for training purposes. So look at the color of those blaster bolts by all of them, and you'll notice that exactly. Jason's number 3 is Chopper versus the Imperial droid, especially the victory flex, and then Henrik is Hera's punch. Henrik, you and I are on the same wavelength tonight, buddy. David is here. Hello, David. He says, Watchmen, not able to do a top 5. No problem, David. Glad to have you. I was actually thinking about the fact that I need to start re-listening to Rebels reactions before we do these episodes to kind of see what I thought the first time I saw the episode, the first time around, or what you and Aaron thought the first time around. Mary's number 3 is Chopper flexing. He's always ready for anything, and he's always ready just to brag and just be silly, which I enjoy. I mean, I love Chopper. I say this all the time. I get summer, I need to find time to make time. There are a lot of cool things in my studio. I have a whole wall of Rebel stuff, which I've never really taken a picture of and shared. But there's some great stuff in here. I've got quite a few Chopper figures, too, that I need to show off, because they're great fun. In fact, when I do want to show things off, and I hope that a lot of you do, and a lot of you are already doing this, CWK Cafe is our exclusive Facebook group. Join us for Star Wars conversation at coffeewithkenobi.com/community, or you can just go into Facebook and type CWK Cafe. We share all of our collectibles, we break down the different shows and series and movies, and just talk Star Wars and news, and it's great fun. And then me to find some silly Star Wars memes occasionally, and she posts them there as well. We have a lot of fun in the cafe, and I hope that you will join us. Let's go ahead and jump into number 2. Number 2 for me, Henrik mentioned this a little bit ago, but Hera's punch, but for me, more specifically, just her being wise to Gal Travis and what he's trying to do, what he's trying to pull. And she gives her reasons of how she believes that something is wrong, something is amiss. She's got a bad feeling about this, as we would say in Star Wars. I think it's very, very clear in this. And then she tells Ezra everything that she notices, and she's super annoyed. She outwits him, which I really like a lot. Nobody better than Hera when she's doing that. Liberty says, wait, are we on episode 12 or 13? 12 is Vision of Hope. 13 is Call to Action. We're watching the one that's right after Idiot's Array, which I thought was Vision of Hope. Yeah, I believe that is correct. Let's pull it up. I'm going to go to StarWars.com here. In fact, we'll just, let's see. StarWars.com. It's possible that I screwed up. Wouldn't that be great? Though screwing up his own show. Hey, it's not unheard of. It could definitely happen. So I go to series on StarWars.com, and I scroll all the way to the bottom. In fact, I'll just show you what I'm pulling up here. Let me get to this. Okay. All right. Let me change my screen so you can see what I'm looking at, because I want to make sure that we're figuring this out together. Okay. So here we are. So I go to the bottom. Here is Star Wars Rebels. And I scroll down to where they have the different seasons. There's season 1. And then you can see here, after Idiot's Array is Vision of Hope. And then after Vision of Hope is Call to Action, then Rebels Resolve, and then Fire Across the Galaxy. So there you have it. I'm so sorry for messing that up last week. That's completely my fault. But I have faith in you, Liberty, that you will take care of business as you always do. I appreciate your insights and your patience for sure. All right, let's get back to where we were here. Again, I like Hera's awareness and her ability to outthink things. And that's what she does. Mean does number 2. Ezra's vision coming together, seeing his vision come full circle, clearly made him distraught, but Kanan assured him that not all visions are easy to distinguish, that he would eventually get the hang of it, which of course happens. 100% happens. All right, let's see what other people have. Mary says, Liberty, yep, I have the top 5 for the same show that you do. So see, I just, great minds think alike. We're going to go with that. I think that makes sense to me. Jason's number 2 is Kanan encouraging Ezra to stay focused on the present moment and not be distracted by other thoughts. Henrik's number 2 is Chopper almost getting cut by Kanan's lightsaber. Yeah, it was pretty quick when he was unsealing that little shaft that they were hiding down in. And Liberty says, yep, Vision Hope. So new list, I can do this. I had a feeling. Liberty says, Travis is kidnapped. We found out that he's working for the Empire. I so wanted him to be a good guy. I was so upset he was leading them into a trap. It was disappointing. I remember the first time I watched it, as Hera was kind of making these faces, I was like, wait, is something weird? Am I imagining things? Am I imagining that Hera seems suspicious too? Something just seems weird. And we were right. But it is time for number 1. So that means we need a drum roll. Number 1 from Vision of Hope for me, it's the beginning. It's the training. It's almost like you can guarantee if there's a training montage or a sequence in Star Wars Rebels, I'm going to respond to that because I just like that entire idea, that entire concept of working together, of understanding the Force. It's just great fun. I love it. So that is what I like about it. I like the playfulness of the crew. Blasting at him, see there's those orangey / weird yellow bolts I was talking about. How they tease him. No, it's not Qui-Gon Returns. Boy, I am a mess tonight. Oh my goodness gracious. That's funny. I think I can fix that though. Let's see. Number 1. There we go. Training and trickery. Training and trickery. That is what I liked about that episode, or the beginning of that episode for sure. The way that there's serious stuff going on, and Hera doesn't show up till the end, but Ezra focuses and has these visions. He blacks out, but then everybody else is teasing him, giving him a hard time. Zeb has the most fun with him, but they're definitely a family, and it's great to see. Plus, there's learning and growing as well. So to me, that's the best combination. Jason says, drink some more coffee, and right? Well, I do have some Coke Zero, and that is pretty good. But yeah, I guess I need to have some more coffee, or maybe not try to do 15 things at once. That would probably help too. Let's see. I mentioned Minta's earlier, but her instinct, she was going to figure out they were being betrayed, even as going so far as punching Gal in the face. Despite all that, she still has hope for the crew as well as for the future. Jason's number 1, Hera outwitting Travis, including a solid left hook to his face. Henrik's number 1 is the Rebels theme song. Interesting, Henrik. I'm interested to hear more about that. Mary says, Hera is always on top of what's going on. She protects her family. Exactly. She's so loyal. And just so earnest and steadfast, and has this ability to be in charge, but not be like, she's a good leader, right? She inspires. She's not mean or ruthless. Liberty says, the training in Ezra's vision for me, we were getting more Jedi stuff, and I love it. Yes, the Jedi stuff is always my favorite part. Mita says you need a Death Wish coffee, strongest coffee in the world. Woof. I don't know about that. I probably need to add a little bit of creamer to that. That might be a bit much. But yes, I appreciate the sentiment there. All right. So is there anyone else who wants to weigh in on their top 5? Or if you have a one that we haven't mentioned that you would like to say as an honorable mention, I will certainly be happy to share that. So next week, of course, then next week is call to action. I messed it up. I didn't even have to change this screen because I already did it a week in advance, channeling my inner Liberty and Mary, who are on top of things and I was not. But next week is call to action. And that is the next one. This is when Tarkin does show up and things definitely escalate. Much more challenging for the Rebels for sure. Looking forward to re-watching that and talking about it with each of you. So now let's take a look at what is where you can ask me, or as I like to call it, Ask Dan Z. All right. Well, Liberty says we are all so busy these days, Dan. We understand. Yes, Death Wish Coffee will be back on track. Well, thank you, Liberty. I appreciate that. And Mary says, Liberty and I are ready for next week for sure. That's right. Oh, Mary said the same thing. Look at that. You two are like sisters separated by birth or something. Very cool. So, yeah. So people have asked me what I thought about Thor, Love and Thunder. What did you all think about Love and Thunder? I personally, I won't spoil it, of course. I was a little disappointed. I'll save that for a future pour over once Tom and Corey have seen it. But I was disappointed for a few reasons. I thought there were some fun moments. I thought there were a few laughs. But again, I'll save that for CWK pour over. Again, that is where you can go to support me and Coffee with Kenobi. You get exclusive podcasts. We've got over 200 audio podcasts you can listen to right now. The new one, as I mentioned at the top of the show, has Colby Mead on it. And we give our top 5 movie soundtracks. And it was fun because we had to pick soundtracks that these aren't scores. We've done scores before, but this is where we looked at soundtracks, with songs with lyrics and music. And there's just it was fun, really fun. It was a long show, so we split it up into 2. Mary said she liked Thor, but not as much as Ragnarok. I agree with that. And Josh says not as good as the last one. There you go. Jason says, Henrik would like to ask if you know that you can customize your own kyber crystal and lightsaber hilt at Galaxy's Edge. I do know that, my friend. In fact, thank you for setting me up. This is perfect. I released it when I was in London a couple weeks ago, but this is where, on show 541, if you haven't heard it yet, is my Star Wars Galaxy's Edge audio tour. You can put on your headphones and close your eyes, and you will feel like you're walking through Galaxy's Edge with me. I point out the differences between Disneyland and Disney World. I take you behind the lore of Star Wars and how it fits into the mythology when you're on Batuu, which is the planet in Galaxy's Edge. And I talk about the making of and what went into it behind the scenes. It's very heavily researched. I wrote, researched, edited, flew to Florida personally, and recorded all the audio and sound effects for it, and synced it up with where we are on the tour. And then the response for this has been wonderful. Can't thank you all enough for your support and kindness about it. It was great fun, but actually I talk a lot about that, Henrik. It's about the lightsabers, building your own lightsaber, legacy lightsabers, Oga's Cantina, Rise of the Resistance, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, the difference between green and blue milk, all different kinds. There's just so much there, and I highly recommend for you can either take the show and download it and listen to it while you're walking around Galaxy's Edge. I timed it out perfectly so that you can do so, or just enjoy it in the comforts of your own home, treadmill, on your commute, what have you. So there you go. That's my shameless plug, but really proud of this. Again, 11 months in the making, and I hope that everybody enjoys my Star Wars Galaxy's Edge audio tour. Minta says, I thought Thor was well done. I laughed and cried. Look forward to see Thor again in the future. Great. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Liberty says, I think it's funny that Taika Waititi asked Natalie Portman if she wanted to star in a Star Wars movie, and then he's like, oh no, I forgot you were in the prequels. I thought that was funny too. I got a kick out of that. Jason says, we haven't been in Galaxy's Edge yet. Well, Jason, you will love it. You will love it. Hopefully you guys can join us next summer on the Halcyon, because one of the things you do on the Halcyon is you spend a day at Galaxy's Edge, which is great fun. But in the meantime, be sure to listen to that audio tour. It'll tell you everything you need to know about Galaxy's Edge. You know what to look for, what to expect, and how to properly plan for it. All right. Well, it's time to hit the outro. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me tonight on CWK Live. Next week, I'll be much more prepared. We'll all be on the same page. Much more coffee, so I'll be ready to chat with you about everything going on in the world of Star Wars. We'll be talking about the next episode of Star Wars Rebels, which is going to be Call to Action, where Tarkin shows up and things get crazy. But exciting, of course. Josh, take care, my friend. Good luck with your San Diego Comic-Con prep. Mary, thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week. Larry says it's so great. It is a great episode. Very intense, but a lot of fun. Arminta, may the Force be with you, my friend. For sure. Appreciate interacting with all of you on social media. Next week, be sure to bring a friend. Let everybody know about what's going on CWK Live so we can have people join us. Tag that you're listening. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Everything you do makes a big difference. It helps to grow this amazing community. I get a lot of great comments all the time about the Star Wars community that we have, that I'm so fortunate to be a part of. It's because of all of you. Because of your positivity, your kindness, your knowledge, and your passion for this amazing saga, this galaxy far, far away. And with all of you, it helps make the galaxy feel a little bit closer. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, as always, for joining me and all of us on CWK Live. Susan says, great to be with you all tonight. May the Force be with you. Thank you, my friend. And Liberty says, nice to spend some confusing but wonderful time with you all. Absolutely. May the Force be with you. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great week. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.